Okay, today's quick tip is kind of a 2-for-1. I'm going to show how I stabilize this deck plank here, and then I'm going to show you how to make a dowel out of any material, any kind of wood you have. We stripped this boat and we're going through and we're making repairs to the deck. We took out any of the bungs in the areas where the planks were bouncing, and we went through and tightened those screws back up, and we're applying Famo wood to small imperfections and plugging anything else with wood plugs with 1/4 inch or 3/8. And this plank right here, this is a live seam, and this plank, it bounces too much. There's too much movement to it, and what's happening is the shear shelf is down below, and then there's a 3/4 or 1 inch mahogany riser that runs along here. You can see where the bungs are. That's where the screws are holding it, and this piece kind of cantilevers over that, and there's no support on here. And I don't like that, because when we go to put the caulk in these seams, it's just going to end up bouncing, and maybe that seam's going to move. So I was trying to figure out how to get under there to stabilize that. And if you go underneath the boat, that that mahogany riser's here, so you can't get at it. So I thought, I'm just going to drill a 3/8 hole right through the deck plank. This is probably almost a 1/2 inch thick deck plank. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this mahogany dowel, which I made, all the way through. I'm going to put some glue on it, put it all the way through down until it stops on that shear shelf. And then once the glue kicks on the deck plank, I don't necessarily have to glue the bottom, but once the glue kicks on the inside wall of that hole, then it's going to stabilize, and this plank isn't going to be able to move down if you're ever walking on it, or just from having no support there. This plank is going to end up moving. So I'm gonna put that all the way through, and I'm going to use, I don't have any 3/8 dowel rod, so I'm going to use mahogany, and I'll take you over here and show you how I made this dowel rod. I have this I guess it's a die that I bought at Woodcraft. It's Nielsen, and I mounted it to a piece of oak here, and I just mortised out the back so it has access, and that's so I can mount it, so I can put it in the vise. And it's 1/8 inch to 5/8, and I'm going to show you how I made this right now. I've got a piece of the stock here. You want to start out, I'm going to make a 3/8 dowel, so this is a little over 3/8, and then I'm going to cut it again to make a square. You could do this on a table saw if you had a lot of stock to make. So I'm going to start out a little bit bigger. I'm going to take it on the bandsaw and cut it. Oh, hey Don. So I'll stop the camera, and then I'll start back up and show you how to make the rest of this, okay? Okay, I'm back. That was my buddy Don that stopped by. So I cut this piece on the bandsaw, and now I'm going to bring it over here to this sander, and I'm going to knock these corners off. Kind of on a 45. I'm trying to get this somewhat into shape, because we can't jam too big of a piece through that die. So then I put it in my drill and try to get it round. I know it wobbles a little bit, but it'll get better. Try to get it as true as you can at first. Then I'll switch ends. switch ends again. Now it's spinning a little bit better. And this doesn't have to be perfect. And I'll take it over there and just see what I've got. See if it's close. A little bit more, still a little bit too much material. Take a little off of this end. That should do it. Then I'll bring it over here. Usually I make this a chamfer at the very end so it fits in there. Get a bigger hammer. And I always use a piece of wood or something when it gets real close to the end because I don't want this hammer hitting the edge there. That's what does the cutting. See how it curls that up. And then you could just take it from the bottom and there's your dowel right there. So I'll take this over. I've got a 3/8 drill in my drill motor here. And I'm going to take this. I've got a mark there, but I'm going to go back a little bit farther. I'm going to try to get pretty much 90 to it. This is a brad point bit, so it gives you a clean start, even though it appears to be a little bit dull. There we go. So there's the hole. Now, when I first thought of doing this, I figured, well, I was just going to stick this all the way through there and then just chop it off, but you're going to get end grain there. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to have to cut this so it's you know, just shy, so I can still put a mahogany plug in there. So I'm going to mark this, and I'm going to go probably about 1/8 or more lower. This side looks a little bit better. So I'm going to cut this. I'm going to get a punch so I can drive this home. A little bit too small. That's too big. There's a 3/8. Hey Dan, do you have the Gorilla Glue over there?
Yeah.
Do you have that in a cup with that little... Here, I can get it with this here. Thanks. So I'm just going to put a little bit of glue on the inside wall. Right like that. Then we're going to put this in. So you can see that that's about 1/8 of an inch that it's set down, so it's engaging probably like 3/8 of an inch of this plank here, and it's seated all the way down against the shear shelf. And then I have an extra plug here somewhere. I had one. Are there any 3/8 plugs around?
In the bowl.
Oh, okay. And then I'll just put A little bit more glue on this. I'll take this screwdriver and tap it down. So that's it. That's all the way home. So now that dowel, once that glue kicks, that dowel is going to be pressed against the shear shelf, and it's going to support this plank. So that'll do it on how to stabilize the tip of this deck plank, and also on how to make a dowel out of this Lie-Nielsen die here with any type of wood that you need. If you're using cherry or oak, mahogany, whatever you're using, you can make plugs. I also use this when I built a stickly cabinet. I use these for the through tenon joints. I use these as the pegs, and I took some oak, and I ran squares down the table saw and chopped them and then ran them through this. So it'll do in a pinch. So that'll do it for today's quick tip, all right?